So previously, I made 2 other videos discussing AI art back in October, so please check those videos out if you have not yet before you watch this one. But in today's video, I wanted to do an updated discussion based on the more recent events and things that have happened within the past few months. Like last time, AI art wasn't even really a discussion being had in the LA animation industry, which is the one that I am in. But I'm happy to say that within the past few months, it finally was a discussion that started and is continuing to be had. So at least within the animation industry that is unionized, I can see that people are continuing to have the conversations regarding AI art and kind of just what to do and how to balance out its existence. But there are still some problems out there regarding AI generated images that aren't necessarily solved just yet, nor do I think that they will be anytime soon. So forgive me as I'm going to be reading off my notes a lot in this video just so that we can get this done quickly and accurately. So some of the problems that still exist within AI art are artists' works used to train AI models without their consent and no opt-out option. I think some places are allowing artists to opt out, but there are still places that aren't like letting artists do that. Copyright infringement seems to still kind of be an issue, and if any of you are going to say copyright is not a thing in the world of AI generated images, there have already been cases where an image that was generated by AI replicated enough or enough of a majority of a pre-existing artwork that did constitute as copyright infringement. So more on that later, but stick to the end of this video if you want to hear some good news in the world of copyright and AI generated images. And then some other issues such as companies creating fake people of color for their diversity campaigns instead of actually hiring people of those backgrounds. People claiming other artists' art styles as theirs when they're not the ones drawing it and using AI to just help replicate that style. And just in general, the lessening of jobs and opportunities for human artists out there. And here are just some of the examples of some of the recent projects that have been announced that used AI, such as a recent anime on Netflix called Dog and Boy that was an experimented intended to help with the labor shortage, which obviously there was never really a labor shortage in the world of artists. There are plenty of artists always looking for jobs. There's an AI generated kids series called Kidiverse Fast Facts, which will eventually, I guess, be on YouTube. And now there are some tools that exist such as Character Turner, which is a character turnaround helper to assist in character design turnaround. And that is something that would formally be the job of a character designer or artist. There are also other cases that I just heard through colleagues where people were using AI art to generate thumbnails on an environmental concept, and then it would be passed on to artists to work off from that. And then some other artists mentioned how people are already starting to use AI generated art in their portfolios. And you know what? I will say that there are actually many cases where AI is actually really helpful depending on the project or industry that you're in. But I will say that there is still one thing yet to be solved by AI art, which is feeding the mouths of the entire generation of starving artists it's about to create. I will admit that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but that's why I'd like to thank today's sponsor, HelloFresh. HelloFresh makes mealtime effortless by delivering recipes and ingredients directly to your home. I noticed I spend less time searching for products in grocery stores and had more time for myself to work on my personal projects when I tried HelloFresh, and I feel less wasteful knowing that their pre-measured ingredients help reduce food waste by a minimum of 23%, and their carbon footprint on average is 31% lower than meals made from ingredients bought at a supermarket. In honor of Earth Month this April, I'm happy to share that HelloFresh is offering a deal for y'all. So go to HelloFresh.com and use code MEWTRIPLED50 for 50% off, plus your first box ships free. My favorite dish was their crunchy Thai chili lime chicken salad because I enjoy eating healthy on weekdays, and when a healthy meal is made delicious, it feels less like a chore you have to do to take care of yourself. So if you want to try something like this, go to HelloFresh.com and use code MEWTRIPLED50 for 50% off, plus your first box ships free. Thanks again to HelloFresh for keeping this artist well fed. So my honest opinion on AI image generating models is that I do think it is going to replace certain creative jobs out there, but I don't think it will replace like every single one that exists on this earth to the point that it's zero. I don't think it's going to be a black and white situation, but I do also think that there will be certain creative jobs that you will start to see less of over time, and some of them probably will eventually no longer exist. Bonbon decided that she wants to be a part of the video and she really wants to discuss AI art, so she's gonna be on my lap. I feel like there's a big enough conversation about it now on the internet, and because most of us have access to the internet, it's relatively easy to stay tuned with the latest updates and news. I do see that there are a lot of people who seem to be extremely worried to the point where they're even overly dramatizing the fact that AI is gonna just make art no longer exist and there's no point in pursuing art or even drawing or creating anymore. Even if art is not your career at the end of the day, I don't think that it should just even be eliminated as a form of a hobby or form of enjoyment. I personally am not going to be quitting art or storyboarding or comics anytime soon just because of AI's existence, but everyone knows their situation best. I think AI can be used positively as a tool, but I also think that it can be abused depending on the hands that it's in, just like anything else in life. So with that being said, I figured I'd share some helpful resources or recent updates or news that could hopefully bring some of you a peace of mind and maybe make you reconsider the idea of giving up a creative career in the future. Do note that a lot of the things that I am listing may probably be changing or developing in the very near future, because as these news arise, it also changes like by the time content is made about it. So the first one is Have I Been Trained, which is a website where you can check if your artwork has been used to train popular AI art models, because I feel like once you learn if your work has been used or not, it can help you decide whether or not if you want to pursue like, I don't know, a lawsuit route or something if you're that extreme, or if you want to take action upon it. I don't know. It just helps you keep aware on if your art has been used or not for any of the tools. Then next, there's a GoFundMe by Concept Art Association for protecting artists from AI technologies. It's basically a fundraiser that will take the issue of AI and bring it to policymakers and hopefully make the AI and artist relationship a healthier, more ethical space. I don't really know too much of the details about it, but you can check it out on their GoFundMe. Next, there is also a Canadian Animation Guild AI reporting page where people who are a part of the Canadian Animation Guild can actually report whether or not if AI is being used in their specific animation or game studio. So basically, once you click on the link, it will bring you to a page where you fill out a survey regarding how AI is being used in your production pipeline at the project that you're on at whatever studio, and whether or not if AI has affected recent layoffs or replacing workers, and what's about to come out of this reporting. I don't necessarily know just yet. I just know that at least this conversation and actions are already being done and started. Then lastly, this is a very new tool that I literally just found about today, so thank God it came in time, but it's called GLAZE, Anti-AI Training Cloaker by the University of Chicago, which primarily works in protecting AI from mimicking an art style. But again, it's still in its early phases, so it's not perfect. But again, I just found out about this today. It's only the beginning, and I think it's worth following up on if you're really concerned about your art being used in AI generating tools and you want to protect your art style from being stolen. Again, I want to reiterate, this is primarily focusing on AI generating tools from imitating your art style more so than the individual piece itself. Here are some helpful resources that hopefully can bring you further peace of mind, which is knowing that according to the copyright registration guidance, works containing material generated by artificial intelligence, which is a policy by the US Copyright Office. In the Copyright Office's view, it is well established that copyright can protect only material that is the product of human creativity. So the US Copyright Office has already started having the conversation regarding the rules for generative AI. All of the things that I'm mentioning are featured in this video by Art of Soulburn, which I will link in the description box below, but he pretty much also does a really great summary regarding the whole policy as well. So the second one is a piece of AI generated art cannot be copyrighted. A prompt isn't sufficient enough to count as human artistry. And third, if a comic book has AI art and human written text, the text can be copyrighted, but the art cannot. And fourth, if you photobash a piece of art using elements generated by an AI, that can be copyrighted, but the elements themselves cannot be copyrighted. So another artist can take those same elements and photobash their own image, kind of just like how some people might use royalty-free music, but we all use the same royalty-free music in our videos, I guess. And then there's a part 2 to his video, which kind of goes more into the specifics and nuances of video number 1, but if you're interested to know more about the copyright registration guidance regarding generative AI from the US Copyright Office in a summarized form, there's a video about it, so check it out if you want to learn more. And then lastly, there is actually a very helpful zine out there that was made to the public for any artists and creatives called Fighting AI and Automation, which is basically a bunch of labor notes taken from a roundtable discussion with people from various work unions. If you're interested to just learn more about what the AI situation is and how it might be affecting different workplaces and maybe what you can do about it, so check that out if you would just like to learn more. And just to add to the fact that people are at least starting the conversation regarding AI, are starting to do something regarding AI in the art and creative spaces, Kickstarter made a statement saying that they stand with human creators, and they even shut down an adult-rated Kickstarter group after enough people pressured them to do so. So of course I wouldn't totally rely and trust companies just because they say they stand with humans, because they say that this is a conversation that they're going to update as updates regarding AI happen, so you never know if they're going to turn their backs on you, which is why I'd say like just take it with a grain of salt. But just know that this is what they once said, and they took down one group that was an AI adult art rated group. And then there was another news article about Getty Images suing Stable Diffusion for unlawfully scraping millions of images from its site. And there are also artists suing Stable Diffusion, Stability AI, Midjourney, and DeviantArt. So again, there's nothing conclusive really about these things, but I'm just saying compared to the last videos I made all the way back in October when AI only started to become a conversation, ever since then, which has been literally maybe around 6 months, there's been a lot of developments being made ever since then. So some of the actions that I think you can take right now as an artist, controlling what you are able to control, is to just constantly be growing and broadening your horizons. Most artists can find it pretty reasonable that AI may take over a lot of entry-level job positions, and I kind of agree with that because a lot of entry-level job positions do entail responsibilities that kind of might be the grunt work or just like the technical annoyances of getting certain jobs done. Like for example, I do think that cleanup related work is a little bit harder to find nowadays, and it's not really a job position that exists because there are tools that kind of cleans things up for you. However, I also do feel like most people who do want to pursue creative careers don't enter just because they want to stay in the entry-level positions to begin with. I'm pretty sure that if you did take on an entry-level position, you're getting in to get your foot in the door to eventually migrate or get promoted to be something else. So as long as you keep improving your skills and keep learning and keep yourself on a disciplined practice schedule with your art and projects, I feel like you'll be able to eventually get promoted and move on from that entry-level position, and by the time you've moved on, like, that entry-level position wouldn't really matter to you anymore, whether if it existed or not. And lastly, now might be a good time to consider being a generalist. And even if you've already started and are working in an animation, art, gaming, or illustration related job, you might have thought like, I already found what it is I wanted to do, but I'm pretty sure that there are still other projects that you kind of take on outside of that or do in the background as a hobby. So there's a book called Range by David Epstein, who basically talks about why it might be good to be a generalist over a specialist, because we live in a society that really values specialties or people being specialists because it just receives more praise in society. But just because you're a specialist doesn't always mean you receive the financial stability, career stability, or even human fulfillment just from being a specialist. For some reason, people just love specialists. However, when you're a generalist, you're really good at pivoting when need be. So if you are somebody who is good at doing multiple things, and if something happens to one of the things that you're really good at, you already kind of know what it's like to do the other things that you've already been doing. I feel like this is why, even as an artist, just because you're an artist doesn't mean that you're necessarily a specialist. There are so many things that fall under the word art. You could be in so many different industries, but you know, one of them might be your career, while as the others might be your hobbies or side projects. So I think just by doing that and having interests in other things and practicing other things for fun, whether it be a side project or just a hobby, it's just good to keep learning new skills, not just for yourself, but to also be valuable enough for any potential job markets or industries out there. There's even an argument that said you might still even have your job even after AI infiltrates your industry. We don't really know what's going to happen, but that could be a possibility, even if it's very slim. And there's a chance that maybe even more jobs might open because of AI. But even though that happens, the responsibilities regarding your job might change over time, and you might even require more soft skills than before, which is something that AI might take longer to truly be able to do. So that's why I just think in general, it's good to just think about being good at multiple things and not just one thing. That's also why I personally like to have multiple projects going on for me. I don't like keeping all of my eggs in one basket. That's why I like working in animation, working on my own comic series, and having social media and YouTube as an outlet for my side projects. At the end of the day, I still think that specialists are needed in certain cases, but that doesn't mean you need to turn your entire self into a specialist. I think, for example, if you want to look for an action-driven TV show and you want to apply to that job, maybe your portfolio should be specifically catered towards an action-driven show so that your portfolio itself kind of serves as a specialty, but you as an individual person, you still have your ability to even do comedy or drama if need be, and you can make those separate portfolios for comedy and drama, for shows and films looking for comedy and drama. So what I'm saying is that I feel like you as a person should stay well-rounded, but you can still create artwork and projects that are more catered towards specific audiences and niches. Anyway, I totally understand that the world of AI entering the art and creative worlds is a very frustrating thing, but I don't think that ruminating on it for too long is going to be healthy for you as an artist or a person. So that's why I hope some of the things that I mentioned in today's video can be helpful and ease you a little bit, or just even give you a little bit of hope. And just know that, again, even if art is not going to be your career, I think that it can still be a hobby or a healthy outlet for you as a person. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you need links to many of the resources that I mentioned in this video, it will be linked down below. So thank you for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one.